Oh, thank you. All right, we'll officially call this Monday, April 14th, board session to order. Join me for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner Wagner, lead us in prayer.
Dear God, we thank you again for the health and the strength to be here today to conduct county business. Thank you that we can have fun in the process of doing that. We ask for your wisdom and guidance as we discuss things today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Here.
Commissioner Wagner?
Here.
Accept a motion for the signing of the journal and then the minutes to approve the DVD recording of the previous session from Tuesday, April 8th, and the index of that meeting.
I'll move.
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, do we have any adjustments to the agenda? Additional things to add from what we got listed?
I have an additional resolution for EMA, and I'd like to bring up some information on our courthouse lawn.
Okay. Both, would they both be new?
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
Also, RTA cleaning.
that definitely be old. That's more recent. Thank you. Okay, we'll start with old business. First thing listed here is cemetery, county cemetery.
Yeah, I thought this was taken care of last year, but apparently it wasn't. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stones that are not been replaced out to the cemetery. I understand that 3 of them are for the city, and the mayor has agreed to that. We can, and it was $200 a piece, I believe, so we can send him an invoice for that, and they've agreed to pay for that. The 2 for the county, there's
one for the county, one for the.
one for the county, and we have sufficient funds in for that through private donations, thank you. And then the other,
Was it?
Pleasant Town, was it
Just one.
just one?
Yep.
And where do we stand at with Pleasant Township?
I've got to put a call to them because I didn't think they
No.
they hadn't agreed to it last
They had
year.
not agreed to it. Now, and we didn't put any funds in place to pay for any of this, so we can't invoice, who's, I don't know who's,
Okay, I guess
are
Willie's
they
Monument
invoicing? Yeah, they'll have
can
to
invoice it.
Yeah. Did they, are they replaced?
No, they are not, I thought they were, I thought all this was done last year.
Oh, okay.
Then it was brought to my attention that it has not. Nothing's been done after the Boy Scouts finished their project. So that's when I reached out to the mayor, because I remember last year he said that he couldn't do it last year, but he could get in appropriations for this year. So now he says it's in there that he can go forward and do it. And from the county's portion, there was private donations, so we can do the county's part. Mr. Welly has it on account
Okay.
down there. The donation was made straight with Welly's Monument, so he has the funds there that he can go ahead and do it. And the other one is Pleasant Township. I know they expressed that they wanted to put something themselves. I absolutely will not, my vote won't allow that. We want to keep the uniform consistent. Now, so what do we do from there? I mean,
I guess if I was Wellies, I don't think they would want to make something on behalf of Pleasant Township unless Pleasant Township has
Absolutely.
authorized
So we
them
need
to
to-
do that, because otherwise they may not.
so we need
pay
to
for that.
either, we need to reach out to Pleasant Township or we're talking about $200, or the commissioners to pick up Pleasant Township.
Because the law states they need to, what they need to mark, so if they want to provide the marker, they can do that. I guess unless you're gonna tell them if they don't wanna buy the uniform one, that you wanna provide it or some other means, because that's what they're gonna need to know. Because they're gonna, from what their discussions before, they shared that it says they need to mark it, and they would come up with something.
I absolutely cannot accept that. And I don't know what the law is on that, but you got a uniform cemetery out there and have one township place something different than something else, that just seems senseless to me.
But any additional burials that go out there, the entity, based on where they were deceased at, the law is their responsibility to carry that out. So I guess, I don't know how you want to communicate that, but like I said, that's the law you're reading. Unless you're
yeah.
telling them you're gonna provide something, I'm sure they would,
Well, I'm hopeful that if we reach out to them again, that they can
okay.
take care of their responsibility. So I'll get with Gully's Monument where he can invoice the city directly for theirs. There's money on deposit through private donations that would take care of the county's part, and then we'll reach out to Pleasant Township for theirs again. I have the list here.
All right, second thing listed is the 2014 Jobs Fair. The Jobs Fair is set for May 12th. We have until May 1st to still get any businesses in if they want to be able to get listed in the directory, so that's moving forward. And then the promotion out to the job seekers, all that stuff's happening. We have the need to rent tables and chairs and linens for those tables for the event. And no one in the group of several of us, the county, the city, Fostoria, the chamber, etc., no one has the ability to provide that funding. I checked with Stacy's help with the prosecutor, and under it being an economic development expense, and we have money there, we could fund that. I just wanted to see how you guys felt about it. It would be less than $1,000. I waited out, last year we rounded up tables and chairs from county affiliated and the county, supplies that can be moved. And by the time we paid maintenance to move those out there and everything else, it's kind of a wash just on the tables and chairs alone, not the linens, to literally pay their hours to do that for us, even though then we had volunteers, helping them set them up and stuff. Or just to have them all come from one source and get them rented from Grand Rental and have them brought in. And the other thing is, some of the additional tables, which we maxed out everything we could get our hands on last year, we had from Tiffin University, and with a new agreement with them for the space and so forth, they don't have those tables, and that was 20 tables and 40 chairs that we paid nothing for, that came from them. So that would be that many more we'd have to find as well. So I decided to check into these means and see if we could possibly take care of that expense for this event. And under the fact that it's economic development and promoting jobs in terms of jobs available to job seekers and helping our businesses find those people. Wanted to bring that up for discussion if either of you feel that's a necessary or a reasonable expense to cover.
Can we get the city to pick up part of it?
I don't know, the mayor wasn't at the meeting when I brought it up, so I did not approach him on that. I mean,
From a revenue standpoint.
it's a county-wide, because I feel like then we'd have to also ask Fostoria. Because it's not, it's a county-wide job fair.
From a
But,
revenue standpoint, they receive revenue from payroll taxes. So as more employees are employed within the county, I guess I would like to see some sort of co-sharing with that, and to reach out in some way to the city of Fostoria and the city of Tiffin to see if they would, and certainly I would be supportive of the county picking up part of that too,
right, I can,
versus the county picking up the whole thing.
Can we say that we have graciously agreed to pay for half of the expense or something like that and let them pay for the rest? I'm just
I mean,
throwing that out there.
whatever you're game to do, like I said, I just want to move forward with the plans. And we've got some, a little bit of time on that, I just, like I said,
I'd be supportive, if we picked up 50% of it, then you have the two,
Divide it
you're
out.
gonna have, it's gonna be tough. I think the city of Tiffin should pick up a larger share than what the city of Fostoria would be, only because of population. But let's see, if the county picked up, if it's $1,000 tab, we picked up 500, and maybe you get the city to pick up 350 and Fostoria to pick up 150. I mean, that would, seems to me that would be spreading it out kind of based on population and representation there.
Or however they wanted to divide it, wouldn't matter to us, as
Yeah,
long
yeah.
as.
But you gotta ask for something. Now, can we not charge the vendors a booth?
We cannot do that.
Cannot, they won't let us do
We
that.
can't do that because of the congressman's involvement.
Can we ask for donation for the vendors?
No, we can't do that either. There's a lot of restrictions that come with that.
Yeah.
And the congressman office takes care of advertising that they can do, and they take care of that expense for us, and Jobs and Family Services helps a tremendous amount. They fund a lot of different things for us, from advertising, a lot of it being all advertising, but they just do a lot for us in covering expenses. They cover the rental fee that Tiffin gives us a very, very fair rate on the facilities. But they take care of that expense to Tiffin and advertising stuff and printing of things. Job and Families carries the majority of the bulk of the financial obligations of the event.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so,
That would be my suggestion, and
all right. I'll see
not
what
to
I
put
find
it in
out.
the paper, but if they don't go for it, then we would, I mean, then I would be, I mean, it's certainly, it's a service that we can do as the county, but
We will.
I'd like to spread it out as much as possible.
I will get
before we
with
pick
Mayor
it up.
Motz and Mayor Keckler and see what we find out. Okay, thank you. Just wanted to share that. Maybe else any questions on our vendors are almost to 40, so we're almost to the numbers from last year. And probably if we compared it date-wise, how many days out, we're probably right where we were a year ago.
What's the date of that again?
It is on Monday, May 12th. And those trying to qualify for VIP status for job seekers, that deadline is the 25th of April. And for businesses, it's May 1st. So we can make sure they have a table and are in our nice printed directory and online and all that good stuff. Okay. Direct energy contract is the next thing on the agenda here.
Just wanted to see if, where we stood on the direct energy, if we were moving forward with the contract that Amy had given us last Tuesday, or if we were getting any information from the other
Well,
company that you were gonna be meeting with.
the mayor and I had a meeting with this group, and it has, at this point, it has greater merit for the city of Tiffin than what it does the county. And the reason for that is the county's got a co-op. There's already a co-op that exists, which takes a large part of the county aggregate away from it. They are still, and there was an email that I received, I don't know, did you get a copy of that?
Yeah, we said
I haven't
that-
had a chance to read it. I'm not supposed to read texts as I'm driving, so I didn't do that yet.
It's a good idea.
My feeling is, I don't think that it's gonna cost the county money if we waited another week or so to go through this due diligence and see if there is advantages of this group. One thing, they can offer gas and electricity, but again, for the county, there's not much gas because the majority of the, I would assume the majority of the users in the county are gonna be more propane. It's a tremendous advantage for the city because they can do an aggregate on gas, and they're one of the very few companies out there that can do that.
Hey, I think
But
we're
is that
talking two
for-
different
yeah.
things. You're talking aggregation for customers in the county. We're talking our electric that we buy as a
This is our-
county.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. And what they're asking for is, they wanted the kilowatt hours
Yeah, and we
of
got.
some of the buildings and so forth. So you were able to get them that information. Again, I just read
Yep.
part of the, so
Yep.
it's a dual thing that they offered for the residents, and they also can do it for the county.
Their program was for the residential's plan, I believe. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
but they
recall
also
that,
do
but
it, they can also do it for the county. I think that, and I got no irons in the fire here, I mean, just make sure everybody knows it. I think waiting a week, I don't think is gonna hurt us. And it takes them a while to be able to get to put the bid in or put the request in to the group in Wisconsin. And the only reason I'm even remotely looking at this is the individuals that are doing are kind of an offshoot of PUCO. So they know that industry well.
The, Amy's, I know it, obviously the ability for that rate that she was offering to change is there. but our current contract expires May something.
The end of May.
So if we handled it next week, are we gonna be, what happens, are we gonna get it all processed in time?
Well, she said if we had to go a month and back into
The market.
the utilities, she said that wouldn't be a horrible thing, but it may be a nightmare on Tanya for getting stuff switched around.
Every day
For a
the
month.
rates change and they fluctuate.
Yeah,
Right.
And to me, the determining factor here is, I understand what she's saying, the closer we get to the summer months, that's when rates are gonna spike dramatically. So I think we have a couple weeks here to go through this now. If we decide to just go ahead and sign a contract with her, I'm sure it's a very competitive contract. I don't know, the only, what I liked about this group is the money that they make, they will donate 50% of that back into economic development in the community. Now, it's not gonna be significant for the county, because it would just be the county buildings and not the overall county
And why
residents.
wouldn't they have bid on this project when they put it out for bid?
yeah, see, I
Why
didn't
are we
understand them that they
offering-
could do ours, when I talked to them, I didn't understand it that way, so.
Because CCAO and Palmer put this
Yeah.
out for bids for all counties in this consortium, just like the natural gas, and so they would have had the opportunity to bid on this project instead of coming in after bids have already been brought in.
Yeah,
Just a thought, because they did all the work for the
Yeah,
bids.
yeah.
That's what the consortium was for.
Yeah, I don't think you
So-
get a better price than what this group does for Commissioners Association. I don't mind waiting a week, but I think in a week we ought
yeah,
to
I
decide.
agree. I think by next week we ought to decide.
Yeah, and I'm fine with it. We can put it down, if they can't get us a bid back in a week, that it's, we're gonna sign a contract and be done with it. And I'm totally fine with that.
So,
Along that-
22nd.
Along that same line there, I read Amy's email, and there are these two programs, the peak shaving and the demand response, that you might get a lower rate on. And the peak saving you can't do, she'd have to refigure before we signed that. But if you wanted the demand response, we could go ahead and sign the contract now and do that at a later time. But the peak saving for me, that didn't seem like it worked. He said, peak shaving, you'd actively go around during peak
Shut off.
times, shut off for 4-hour minimums, approximately 15 times in the summer, from 2 to 6 p.m. So I'm just thinking of our buildings, and, you know, the jail, we do have the backup. If you shut that off 15 times in the summer for 4 hours, might be more of a pain in the butt than it's worth. In the other buildings, we don't have a backup, so you just, that's really probably not an option, the peak shaving.
Yeah,
The demand response maybe is an option. That's where they call when they're at a peak like you have there at Lam Tech. He said historically this has not occurred often, but Mark feels curtailment calls will rise due to the industry. Mark does not feel that your large meters are large enough to make much of a difference, especially with the cost associated with an interval meter. We'd have to buy an interval meter for each of the buildings between 800 to 1,300, and they just didn't feel that that would pay for itself. But that's something we can explore later after we sign the contract. We'd have a little time then. So I guess I'm recommending next week we have her price it for that day, whatever our meeting is
Yeah.
next week, Tuesday, and
I'm totally fine with that. But I think it's something that, for our own information, to look at that, what would that savings, so in the future, well, we're signing a 3-year contract though, aren't we?
3-year contract, but they can still do the demand response
Okay.
anytime in there.
Still
So
put
I'd
it in
say when
place.
she comes back to us next week, we sign, here's our rate. Please look into this demand response and see how much it would save us if we signed that. I don't think we can do the peak shaving, I just don't think that'll shut us down too much. But this other one, we might be able to do if it's significant money.
No, I'm fine with that. Because again, the frequency is minimal. There was years we never had to do it, then there was years once we had to do it. And it was, again, from our standpoint, it was a $20,000 rebate check that we would get, which is pretty significant.
yeah.
So you can have something ready for Tuesday?
Yep.
And then we'll want to get with the other group and get them the information they
Yep.
need and say, you know, if they can't bid it out in that time, then don't waste your time.
Okay.
All right. Next thing, you added the RTA and cleaning. Was it cleaning the RTA or cleaning the annex?
No, well, we've already approved the cleaning the
Okay,
annex.
so it's the RTA.
And that, no, I'm sorry, we approved cleaning the sheriff's department. That's when we appropriated 17,000 last week.
Right,
for the
That
painting and cleaning.
combination of Grimes painting and the sheriff and blah, 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 so forth and so on. We have not decided on the annex,
No, you're-
and we have not decided on the RTA.
The annex, we were looking in to see if we had employees that wanted to do that. Do we know any of that yet?
Pretty sure that our cleaner that's out south of town, she will be interested. I'm sure our new cleaner will be interested. That way it gives him a chance to. But I haven't heard if Dean or any of the other ones would want to do it. But he was checking. He was asking them if they'd want the overtime. I'm sure he's going to. Dwight's been working on some of the stuff already, actually. So just gonna need a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd prefer to do it that way, if we can get some people to maybe take 4 or 5 weekends, it
Yeah.
wouldn't really matter.
Yeah.
Sure better than
Yeah.
$11,000. I mean, I agree with you, Commissioner. That just seemed like an awful, but we certainly want to take care of our building. The other issue was the RTA we talked about, and we talked about pressure washing that and taking care of that grime that's on the front of it. I don't believe, we're still waiting for an opinion from the insurance company, but anything that would be doing there isn't really gonna affect the outside of the building.
So
So,
nothing in writing's come back
Klaus
from
doesn't have
church
to
yet.
go through the outside to,
well, it's not gonna affect, if we clean the building, he's not gonna have to do he's not gonna have to do any major restoration on the outside. Now, we can wait till after that's done and then look at steam cleaning the building, or we can go ahead and move ahead and steam clean the building, and whatever work's gotta be done on the outside isn't gonna create issue that we got now. And we're still waiting for the insurance company.
Right.
And again, my proposal was, after we find out what the insurance company will take care of, that we would contract with Klaus Construction to do their remediation for the mold and those issues, and then for the structural issues, we would give him a maximum not to exceed, and then a time and material type thing. And I think that is totally separate from pressure washing the building. Pressure washing the building, and I asked that, that his bid would also include recaulking in the windows.
You have somebody in mind. We had called and were requesting bids, and then Larry had called us, said he was in Florida, wouldn't be able to get us a quote, and
Oh, I
he
thought
said
he-
you told him that we weren't gonna do it, so we didn't push to get the quotes. We can,
And the
So-
insurance
Maybe-
is totally in for the interior.
yeah, it has nothing to
The
do with the
insurance
outside.
company
Nothing
was
to do with the
here.
outside.
No. That,
for the interior.
for the interior
not
is what
us
the
here.
insurance was for.
Yeah, that's for the interior, yeah, not for the exterior. I think Larry gave me a price, and
Oh.
I'm not ready to,
Okay,
I just want to know, are we ready to proceed with that, where we could get a formal quote from them, and, or if that's something you guys would prefer waiting until after everything else is done.
I can't imagine the work he's doing, not stirring up some kind of dust and grime, but I just prefer to wait. It wouldn't take that long. Let's hear from the insurance company. And I agree with all the rest, let Klaus go in and do what he needs to do, whatever it is to fix that up. I just prefer to wait a month or two and wash it down once. But
Yeah.
Probably makes, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Should we have anybody here for the bid opening? I don't think you guys are they didn't bring bids. So do we want to do the bid opening to keep that on schedule, or does that not matter?
sure, it doesn't matter, as long as we we won't accept anymore after the time. I think it was actually earlier, 10,
It
yeah.
was, the posted time was 10 p.m.
Yep. So, we can either do that now. Looks like I only have one.
We go ahead and do that.
you're
Yeah.
in charge.
Let's open the bids. Bid opening for Pleasant Township Road 75, 2.66.
Okay, this bid is from Lindsay Precast Incorporated out of Canal Fulton, Ohio. Engineer's estimate, $36,500. Total bid amount, $46,695.60. 46695.60.
He's not having real good luck the last couple bids.
And that's the only one I have.
How does that work if his estimate is under what the actual is? Do they let it out for rebid, or?
If it's greater than 10%, he has to rebid it and or revise his plans or make adjustments there according to what maybe he's, something. Slows it up, it does, what it does.
Yeah.
Slows up the progress, get it scheduled. All right, well, I want to thank Lindsay Precast for bidding, and Mark will take it from there.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And back to our agenda. We have the Board of Elections scheduled for 2:30. Are you guys ready to roll, or would you rather wait?
We're ready.
All right. Well, then we'll turn the floor to you. Welcome.
Good morning. Carl is our newest appointed director, and so this is sort of, you all know him, but still, this is a formal introduction to our director, Carl. We've got some issues coming up from the state of Ohio in regard to handicap. We've met with you folks before in that parking lot and described some of the limitations. And Jim here will explain some of the other issues that are boiling at this point. Jim?
Okay. Brett Harbaugh from Secretary of State's office is going to be coming by sometime before the election. He's going to want to make sure that we are in compliance with ADA at the Board of Elections, and we're not. To get to be fully ADA compliant, at least according to some of just the parking accessibility parts, we would have to have handicap parking in front of the building at the front door, or we'd have to have a ramp at the back door, one of the two. A ramp would have to be about 18 foot long to accommodate, because the ramp at the health department doesn't work its way to us without the elevator and then a stairwell, so that kind of fails. And in the front, from what they showed us at the ADA compliance meetings, would require a 5-foot curb cut and then a ramp onto the sidewalk, and I'm not sure that that would be feasible. I did bring this for you folks.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed it. What did you say about the front door? What's
If
the
we're,
front door?
well, we're not handicap compliant for the parking at the front door.
For parking at the front door.
Yeah, they would have to be able to get out of the vehicle and go to the front door from a handicap accessible spot. And according to ADA, for people to be able to vote, because we are a voting location right where we're at, people can come in and vote, they would have to have a 5-foot curb cut into the curb for their wheelchair accessible ramp to come down off of their vehicle, and then a ramp off of that so they could ramp up into the Board of Elections front door. And that, I don't think is real practical.
I guess I'm confused. I mean, okay, I understand you have to have the curb cut to be able to get the ramp down, but from there,
Just
into the
ramp.
front door is all on the same level.
Well, if we have the curb cut, we'd still have to ramp up onto the sidewalk level to get onto the curb, because we'd have the curb cut in, but it'd just be a ramp to get up onto the sidewalk. And then we're good into the front door, if that's built, but that's
So
just gonna
basically,
be hard.
would be to cut a 5-foot section of the sidewalk out.
And then
a
instead
curb.
of curb that section, ramp it up and fade it up into the sidewalk, as opposed to, there's another curb. So then they couldn't wheelchair over that.
This, when we talked about the parking spots before and everything, that no one, I guess, I don't know, did this ever get mentioned? Or if they park in those spots, they can't come through
Well, they
the
can't.
opening in the wall there through? Or does it have to be within so many?
It has to
I'm
be
just
within-
asking because no one, I don't remember that coming up before
Yeah,
about the street parking.
well,
And the street's not ours.
right, the street stiffens. And the parking lot in the back, from what they told me, and I'm just at one meeting for this, so my education's limited here, that we could, because we're using two, we would need 2 handicap accessible spots with a 5-foot swatch between, so that one could go to the Board of Elections, one could go to the Health Department. And then we would have to build a ramp onto the back door of the Board of Elections, similar to what you have at the Health Department, with the rails on the side and the 18-foot, so that they wouldn't have to go around the building to get in. Either way, it's not real feasible where we're at.
They couldn't go from the parking lot. We're getting that
Okay.
re-blacktop this summer.
Sure.
I guess we haven't got the bid back yet.
No.
We assume we'll get a good bid, and we intend to remarket at that time in the proper handicap accessible way. But they couldn't go through that cut there and then right into the front door?
According to Brett at the Secretary of State's office, no.
Well, send him over, that's crazy.
Okay, with,
I don't disagree, I just, and the bearer of the news, but yeah, I understand the concern.
and I don't know where you're at with the option on some space that we've kind of threw out there, but
Would love to
if
take
they
a more
know that
look at
that's under
that.
consideration, are they gonna be
If
a
we
little
have
more
some,
understanding to get you through the May 6th election?
yes. If we have something firm that we're gonna be moving, then they will come also and look at that site, and if that site is in compliance, they will take that into consideration. So we just need to have something firmed up a little bit if we're gonna do that. Happy to do that.
Okay, well, we've
'Cause then I
been
can
waiting
take
to
them
hear
out
back
there.
from you guys on what you wanted to do, what questions you might have from the September information I shared with Cherry.
We believe that that location will work, but we were believing also that folks were not excited about it. Of course, again, we're reading the newspaper. Newspaper
have to
says
do
they
that.
want to keep you downtown. Downtown. And-
Charles, you don't have to read the newspaper, I'm not excited about it, I'll tell you that, and you know that.
Yes. So, you know, we have to figure out what's the most economic way to get this job done. There's certain limitations. I've bid on other projects with the state of Ohio. It's, when you come to ADA, it's sort of non-negotiable. You are within so many feet, you have so many things. We put a lot of money in those doors that open and close. The problem is though, the riser is too high under current definitions of ADA. So we're gonna have a problem there too. There's a lot of issues here that are a problem. And this location is just, you know, we'll make it work whatever we can, but unfortunately, we're up against the wall here. It's, you know, if there was some conversation about, well, okay, what if we would replace the health department and go in and take over their area? So everything is on the same floor. Because more and more Board of Election folks are going to be on the same floor as opposed to having stuff down in the basement and coming up. We were in Huron, and that's what Huron went to, the same thing. So we're real flexible on this kind of thing. If I had my choice, I would want it to stay downtown, but I don't think it's an economic viable thing. And here's another issue that's a problem. A few days ago, the health department closed that parking lot completely down, rightly so they could do the mammogram program, rightly so. That's in the middle of our election. So you would have taken away our handicapped parking spaces. We can't do that during an election. Because we 45 days before the election, certain things can happen. People come in to register to vote, things like this. So when you give us, if you're going to give us that parking lot, probably you have to tear that wall out. If you're going to give us that parking lot, you're going to need to let us have it all the time, not just most of the time. 45 days before each election, and there are 4 times a year we can have an election. It's critical that we have this.
Could we ask for a listing of the issues we have at the current location that we would have to make modifications to make it ADA accessible, so we can look at a potential cost? A lot of it comes down to cost, as you very well know. And once we can assess totally what the cost would be to make it ADA accessible, we can look at the cost of what it is out to the Job and Family Services location, and then we can make an educated decision what makes it, for me to say, you know, I don't agree with the one, but if all of a sudden the one to make it ADA accessible is cost prohibitive, well then I'm very much gonna be supportive of the other one. Without knowing what those costs are, all those issues, and again, I'm just repeating myself, you give us a list of the 4, 5, 6, 20 items that we have to do to make it ADA accessible, we can then look at it and get some cost and say, okay, this is what's gonna cost us there.
We had addressed the proposal we had presented the Board of Elections with, that I prepared with the direction of the board, address the issue, and correct me if I'm wrong, space, ADA, and security. So it wasn't just ADA for their concern when this was presented to move out to 3362 Township Road 151, the Department of Job and Family Services. So there was other issues with that. Now, not that we can't have a comparison of what it takes to, but this offer was, as long as it didn't cost us a lot of money, and the fact that their given location at 71 South Washington potentially could be, we could rent it out for retail space, whereas we've shown the space out there to others and have had no takers on it, it's been sitting empty. Now, the increased cost of the county, if it's just a switch of locations, we basically had talked that we wouldn't want to do a major remodel. Some minor things, our maintenance could help get in line for you. We know there would be some electrical changes. Speaking with Dean Henry this morning, Dean Distal, wrong name, this morning, that because of the machines and the power and so forth, and we just did some of that for their changing up of their cubicles anyway out there, so he got that fresh with talking to the electric folks on that. And we will lose a minor little bit that right now Job and Family Services is still paying the utilities on that space, and it's still in their lease agreement, which we will take it out of if obviously somebody else goes in there, so we will lose that a little bit. But I guess I don't know, I just kind of bring up the point, not that it's a complete waste of time to get all the ADA cost for the South Washington address, but I'm wondering if we foresee that this is a no-go. I guess I'm wondering where we feel on that versus wasting that time to do that. That's gonna cost us more than what little bit we're putting out there to give a move.
Plus, if we gotta make a decision by May 6th, today's April 14th. I don't know if we'll have enough time to get bids in to do all that, if they have to have an answer by elections.
And we just have to have the ability to say, this is the planned area, this is what the commissioners say is available. Would you like to tour that also? And if we have a key, we can go tour that also. And if it's in compliance, we'd be in compliance, as long as they know we're moving.
You did tour, at least some of you toured it.
Yes.
I guess my thoughts, if that space suits you out there at Job and Family Services, I have absolutely no problem letting you have that. Like Commissioner Stacy said, though, no major renovations. We could change cubicles, change some electric and that kind of stuff, but no tearing out walls and that kind of things. It may be a little less handy for a few people, it'd be more handy for others. If you're coming from out of town, you'll just pull off a 224, and if you're coming from Fostoria to vote, I think that's kind of a wash. And then we could market this down here for retail like we'd originally talked about. It's got a big picture window. But I'm not opposed to finding out what it costs to restripe that parking lot, which we're gonna do anyway, and change out the door. I still think they could come, if we have to talk to somebody, I still think they could come from the parking lot around that. It doesn't seem like
The
that's
problem is the
unreasonable.
Washington Street door with the
Yeah,
curb cut.
but don't you think they could come from the parking lot through the cutout in the wall and in the front door if we changed the front door out somehow?
I'm not sure.
You're starting to run out, you gotta be convenient. If you're too far away from the door, ADA people get excited about, you have to be convenient, that's why Walmart and all the other people push it as front.
Disabled parking spots are always the closest to the door, not the
Yeah.
furthest.
Kind of a thing.
That's what we have to determine is, what is that criteria?
Right.
And
Commissioner
as you
Stacy.
make the list out, I understand some is space and so forth. I would, if that's what the commissioners, again, I'm only one of three, but if that is the direction from the go, the list, the things that we have to do to be compliant, and the other one lists the wish list.
Commissioner Stacy alluded to the space issue, and I hope Brittany doesn't put this in the paper, but we've been storing supplies in our bathroom at the Board of Elections. That's how cramped we are for space. And it's not workable.
And
We hope that the commissioners will say, yes, we're gonna fix this problem, because I've been buying time with the state. I kept telling them that we're working towards this. And this has been going on for 2.5 years. And we need to fix this, guys.
What's so frustrating, and I've shared this with y'all before, is, you know, it's just 15 years ago, we abandoned the CASA building, bought this building specifically for the Board of Elections and remodeled it specifically for the Board of Elections. I know things have changed and,
Keep in mind that
Yeah.
we have in-person voting, and
Yeah.
our location is a voting location now as well. I don't believe you would have found that to be the case 15 years ago.
it's just frustrating, you know, 15 years it should last longer than that, a redesign.
I'm confident that the space that you've talked about would last as long as the building lasts. It's all on one level.
And your walkthroughs, it meets your needs with what you're seeing there.
I think it's workable.
And that, and including that additional space that's kind of separate from the
Right.
main functioning office as the storage location for the
Right.
machines.
Well,
Okay.
you know, even if we, at this point, we don't have a disabled employee, but if we had an opening and we had an applicant for the position, I don't see how we could accommodate an employee right now if, in our current location, if we had to have that employee go downstairs. It just wouldn't happen. And we're buying an ADA suit then. We can't discriminate.
They can get there through the side ramp with the elevator, correct? I know it's, I mean, because I'm thinking the street parking is
That's
not
gonna-
ours.
that's
It's not our
gonna-
parking lot.
That's not gonna stop you being service on this.
Okay.
Whenever anyone is ADA, they have, the government says they have a right to be treated just like everybody else.
Right.
So if all of us have to go to the back door and down and over, that works. But if we can go one way and they can't, that's opening a can of worms that we don't have to open, we should.
I don't know how that reasonable accommodation thing works, but I'm okay with either way. If we can get a price to fix it and see what it costs, if it's unreasonable. Job and Family Services, I think that's a good option because we can more easily market this downtown. We've tried to market that out there and nobody who wants to put a,
I think we could get by very well out there with very little changes.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to move on anything, or you want to wait until you see numbers that Commissioner Zolder's.
What's your
requested?
preference?
Sooner the better.
I mean, what your preference is to try and do the ADA stuff?
Or is your preference to
Or
move?
We can't realistically move in the middle of an election.
No,
when
no,
we have
no,
people.
No, no.
absolutely, absolutely.
No, not, yeah.
Too early to know about.
Well, I'm not sure the space is vacant at the moment. It's getting real close, though. It's temporary housing, when they're paying for it anyway, so I guess.
Yeah,
They're using it while their unexpected renovations were being done.
Can they?
It would certainly be, excuse me, sir, it certainly would be good to be announcing the possibilities of changing the location during the election cycle. So when people are elected, going to the election, we had a placard up that says that we could be located at this location or this location in 6 months.
Yeah, but that's not gonna suffice with the Board of Election. They're saying they want a plan in place by May 6th. And realistically, we're gonna be hard pressed to come up with a plan either to make that ADA accessible and serve the legalities that you had that are in front of you or going out there. That's gonna be a tough one to be able to make it in that time frame.
Could you take one more look out at JFS and just give us a firm, yeah, this will work, and we kind of think you'll need to change this, or we kind of think you'll need to do that?
Do you anticipate some things that you may not be prepared to say today? The minor things, we know the electrical we know we're gonna have to do something with that.
The director and I haven't been out to make any real comment, other than see a blueprint. I don't know.
Well, that's true, Carl's new, so he,
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk with the Secretary of State's office and ask, not a surprise inspection, but a special one, to come down right now. Because we're serious about the location we're at, when we're serious about the location out at by the sheriff's office.
Well, don't invite trouble, ask them to find problems over there, but,
They're coming.
They've already found it.
Yeah,
okay.
They already found it.
But But if you want them to look at the JFS too, that'd be great.
Yeah, that way we
That's-
could move with no surprises to anybody.
That's
Right,
definitely
right.
handicap
So,
accessible.
yes.
And it's one floor, your machines would all be on one floor and all that. But
And obviously, the parking isn't an issue for anybody
Well, in terms
with
of
that
the
lot.
overnight
Visibility is you're at the front of the
great.
building.
You know, one of the other pluses of this, if we're not on 2 floors, it will heighten security, and it may even allow us to cut more of our, that night's security people down, so our payroll might be even, because right now we have people 2 different levels trying to protect the vote.
Mm.
And if we were all on one level, I think we ought to be able to reduce our staff even more in that regard. Speaking of staff, we're making a few changes, but we're staying within our budget, which I know you love the words, we're staying in our budget, right?
yeah.
We are doing it.
So are my fellow commissioners, are they interested in, for the Board of Elections to come up with a list of items that have to be modified? And then a list, I mean, if my fellow commissioners, you know where I stand on it. And my fellow commissioners are not interested in looking at that option, then we don't even need to go there.
Yeah, I guess I would ask them to come back, take a look at it, take the newbie out, and come back with, we're definitely interested in doing it. The only thing we think we need would be X, Y, Z, and then we know exactly what we've agreed to do for you by saying, let's put you there instead of here, as well as if you want to get the estimate, that I'll leave that to whomever, if you want to get the estimate on, from South Washington,
The
on the front door adjustment.
Well, yeah, to
We
do
know the
that,
parking
though, we
lot
would
will
need an understanding from you guys what modifications are absolutely needed to make it ADA.
Sure.
2 separate columns, and then a wish list.
How soon can we come back to see you?
next
Or
Tuesday.
As
you
soon
want
as you,
us
as
to-
soon as you want to.
Okay.
Next
Well, we're in
Tuesday?
session next Tuesday.
Okay. We'll do it this week.
I did hear a statement made that we don't want to stir the pot and point out all the bad things. But when I bring the gentleman in and say, okay, go down to Washington Street, tell us what we can do, that's stirring the pot. But the pot's gonna get stirred. Is that all right?
Whatever. I think your bigger problem is, even if you solve the handicap issue, which to me is not much of an issue there on Washington Street, that doesn't solve your bigger issue of the voters being right beside each other, which is a real problem.
Yeah, the space issue
you're
doesn't
not
do
gonna-
anything for that.
You're not gonna get one person in 5 years that can't get in the building, but you're gonna get some people that look at each
Bi-level
other's,
thing.
look at each other's votes.
They're gonna be
probably.
cheating when they vote.
So I guess I kind of favor the job and family because of that issue.
Some people I look off of and some people I wouldn't.
That's fair.
We can't put the curtains in there, just like they got in normal voting booths? There's not enough room just to put that in?
We've got we're storing supplies underneath our.
Early
little
voting's
carols.
going on right now, correct?
Correct.
You should go down and vote. Oh, maybe you did. I'm sorry.
Vote again. Oh.
Fred, yeah, that's a great idea. Please come down, you can vote absentee. If you get hit by a truck, then your vote would still count.
I'm sorry, my whole thing is, I like to keep as much as the government together. And I just like it down there. I think it's easy for everyone, but I'm only one of 3, and we can agree to disagree.
The nice thing about that location is the sheriff's department answers real quick, because they're what, half a mile away. So there is more of government out there, than reality down here.
About a tenth of a mile away.
Yeah. So it is close, and it does, being out there is a certain amount of security in itself.
And we've got the county engineer out there, we've got job and family services out there, we have the veteran services out there, the sheriff's out there. So we got
We
quite a
just
bit
have
of
the
government out
judges.
there already.
They got the big guns, literally.
We appreciate
You
all
make a
your,
compelling story. I don't have to agree with it, though.
we appreciate appreciate your efforts in this. I know
All right,
it's
so
a
we'll
difficult
anticipate someone's coming back next Tuesday?
You bet.
Or send it
What
to
time?
us and we'll take care of it, you wouldn't have to be here, up to you.
What
We'll
time do you
at
meet?
10 o'clock on
10 o'clock.
Tuesday. The next Tuesday is, no, never mind, it's not. It's not our third, as I said, the work session, but we don't.
22nd.
It's the 22nd, regular session, 10 o'clock.
Earth Day.
It's Earth Day, there we go, it's Earth Day, we're green.
Thursday.
Tuesday.
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 Earth Day.
22nd
Not
or
Thursday,
24th
Earth Day.
next, we got 2 meetings next week.
It's Earth Day.
Earth Day. A little,
More room for the health department.
we do
All right.
appreciate what you guys do though.
Thank you.
very much.
Nice meeting you today, thank you.
Just as you guys are leaving, is the selection for the new appointee for the Board of Election, is that made through the Central Committee or is that made through?
A recommendation as Secretary of State comes from the Executive Committee of the Republican Party, since the chair was a Republican that is being absent. And it's not very convenient what we're doing. We're meeting on a religious holiday, but if we don't do it the way we're doing it, we will only have 3 members at the election time, so it has to happen this way. So it's this Saturday, 4 o'clock. Visitors are encouraged.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we'll continue with new business, and I'll start with the bill vouchers.
I have bill vouchers 43 through 45. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $910 from supplies to equipment. This is at the request of tax map. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the maintenance and repair fund, 020, moving $10,000 from contract projects to equipment. Resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Soil and Water Fund 042 for the soil and water. They're invoicing us to get match money, so we have to invoice ditch maintenance to pay soil and water. So we're taking this from the general fund, $94,500, and putting it into soil and water.
Kind of a numbers game, but they get more state match
Yes.
that way, so we have to do it in
Yep.
order to get
Okay.
the
Yep.
money. We take it from ditch maintenance to us, back to
Yep.
soil and water.
Okay.
This goes along with it. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the general fund. This is putting that $94,500 into the transfers out. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriation, the general fund for 2014. This is putting $6,061.51 into the maintenance machinery line. This is upon your approval from last week for the items for maintenance. I have a supplement to the permit appropriations for the Seneca County Ditch Maintenance Fund 017 for 2014, putting $10,000 into their contract service line. I have a resolution amending the contract with WSOS for the administration of the Community Housing Improvement Program FY13 for the Fair Housing Training Program to be conducted by the grantee, and authorizing Holly Stacy as president of the Board of Commissioners to sign this amendment on behalf of the county. I have a resolution authorizing a contract service agreement with A&D Excavating for the Loy property for the Ohio Water Pollution Control Fund HSTS program. And then I have the one additional for supplemental to the permanent appropriation for the Wireless 911 System Fund 087, putting $10,500 into their equipment line.
I move we approve.
Seconded.
Okay. Questions or concerns? What was the EMA amount again?
What was it, 10,000? 10,000 for, what he's doing is, updating the, same as all the other departments are updating their XPs. And he's got some grant money to be able to do that, so it's not coming from us. So
Okay.
it's out of his 087.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any concerns, questions? Now call the roll, please.
Commissioner Reiner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes. All approved, thank you. And the last item of new business, we had courthouse lawn.
Yes, I had a gentleman come into the office on Friday, and they have some little events that they do at the courthouse lawn, and I mean, we can see how kind of rough it looks, and it needs some extra seating. He has offered to bring his roller in free of charge to roll the courthouse lawn. The judges, I asked the judges, they didn't seem to have a problem with that, and they're gonna even try to get some donations around to add some more seed
Okay.
to the ground, so.
Good.
Judges were okay with that, I just wanted to make sure that was okay with you.
Uh-huh.
They're willing to, I mean, we told them we have events on there, so.
Right.
Well, if they can't get donations for the seed, I think we're gonna buy a little seed and throw it
Yeah,
on anyway.
yeah.
Because it just, that
Yeah.
can't cost that much to throw
No.
some grass seed on there.
No. But I think that's what
It's
they were
kinda
looking
thin.
to
I guess
do.
the soil's not the greatest there, some of it that got hauled in is not the best.
Yeah, I'm sure
dirt.
probably take some time to get it. Okay, so we don't need to really act on anything, we just.
No, just wanted you to know and
No,
that, make
thanks
sure
for
that
doing
was,
that.
that was okay.
All right, so that would take us to citizen comments. Anyone? Tom?
I got two comments on the courthouse lawn. Has there ever been fertilizer put on that?
I don't know.
I don't know what B and B put on it when they,
I don't know.
Oh,
Some, weed and feed.
I don't think.
Probably not.
I don't think we have.
It
but I-
needs it.
Yeah.
It needs it.
Some seed.
It needed it last year.
Yeah.
The other comment I have, or question, not comment, question. What about the Great Wall? I stopped down there before I came here, but it was raining. And I didn't see much.
CSB.
Yeah, Commissioner Wagner and I did take a look at it,
Well, I thought maybe you
and
did.
by God, it is starting to blister.
Is it?
It is.
Not real noticeable
Yeah.
yet, just here and there.
Is it down more toward the street?
Oh, if you really get and you look at it in our maintenance department, it showed us there's you got to really look at it,
Okay.
but you can see some spots that is blistering.
It's kind of
Long-
random,
Pardon?
kind of random, and then not
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Okay, well, I just
Long term, my hope is that's gonna last a couple, 2-3 years. And long term, we're probably gonna have to tear it down and side it or put something in there. It's gonna be a much more costlier proposition, but we tried to go the cheap way out, and it may last, may last 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's coming apart again.
Okay, thank you. I
It just, underneath that paint is like a sand, and then nothing grips, just like spray painting your sandbox. It doesn't stick. Can I ask? a
We were
question?
hopeful.
Can I ask a question about scheduling?
Sure.
Next week, we have Tuesday and Thursday, and then the following Tuesday is the evening meeting.
Yes.
I don't think we wanna schedule a lot on Thursday, we won't have anything for Tuesday, for the evening meeting, you go somewhere, you wanna have some business to do.
We may be having Corsa come do their annual update.
Okay.
Tell us how
Okay.
good our renewal is. She can't get here during the day on
Okay,
any of our
that'd be
other.
great, that'd be great.
Just
I just don't
knowing
wanna
there's-
schedule everything on Thursday and not have anything to do Tuesday
Right.
night, and
Right.
the folks that come out don't have anything to see
A bid opening as well for the CSB
on,
as
on
well.
Tuesday evening.
Mhm.
Okay.
On Tuesday night, on the
Tuesday
29th.
evening, Yep.
And we are where this time?
New Riddle.
There we go.
Anyway,
That's the village office on, I think it's Finley Street.
Yes.
Finley.
Anything coming up of that, Wood County, for the sewer district in New Riddle?
I haven't heard anything.
Nope.
They,
they have not
how you
scheduled
were
anything
chairing
yet.
that?
Nope.
Yeah,
He
I
had
wasn't sharing it,
emailed
they're
me.
supposed to make sure I was included in the meeting, and they haven't scheduled anything.
They were gonna have it last Wednesday, and a scheduling thing came up. Mayor Boyne couldn't be there, so they were gonna try to reschedule, and I have not heard back from him.
Somebody will probably ask that question Tuesday night, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll wanna have some sort of,
I was at a meeting Friday, I think, up to Toledo, and spoke with some gentlemen that were part of that Wood County Consortium. And I mean, it's legitimate, where they can come in and they can basically take the debt over, take it away from the county, take it over, and what they do is they have 50,000 customers. So they can spread it out over everyone, the lower New Wriggles rate, and everyone else would pay a couple dollars more, because they spread it out. The fact is, and they've got $6 million in the bank. This group, it's a government group. Long-term though, I mean, it would help New Wriggles short-term issue, but long-term, it may not be the answer, but it is legitimate. They own a lot of rural facilities like the New Wriggle plant, and where their strength comes in is they got 50,000 customers. It's all they do is they just spread it. They buy the debt, pay it off out of their cash, and then they spread it out over 50,000 versus 300. So it is a very, very legitimate potential. Now, there's a lot of investigation that's got to go into that to see if it makes sense. I mean, as I said, I'm sure that I could convince my fellow commissioners to get rid of that project if we had to. We kind of got suckered into it, a stiff arm, but if it's in the best interest of New Wriggles or not, and Fostoria, I don't know. I know who it was. It was Dan at Fostoria, the engineer.
Dan Thornton.
Dan Thornton was telling me about it, and it is, they use it quite a bit. Not Fostoria, but some of the surrounding communities that Fostoria does the treatment for is part of this Wood County Consortium or whatever.
And we're waiting to hear back from the other place too, RCAP.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
It'd be nice if we knew if there was a meeting set up before that Tuesday, so that we could say, well,
Yeah,
Holly's meeting with them on such and such a date.
What time frame did they give us when we were over there? Was it 60 days, 30 days?
Well, I thought they said,
I don't
yes,
remember.
60 days.
Yeah.
what I
Look, that
recall.
was-
I was
that
thinking
was the
more of
RCAP
the-
group,
I
and that was
thinking
when
more
I
of
was
the Wood-
gone.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
thinking more of the Wood County group if we had a meeting
Okay,
date
So
set up.
that's been just about 60 days.
Okay.
I guess, back to this meeting thing, do we want to meet on Thursday, I guess is my question.
Oh,
I don't know if we,
I would say if we don't have that much,
if
I'm
we don't
sorry.
have much, we don't need to. I mean,
I'm just afraid we'll take our business away from Tuesday night and not have something
Yeah,
for
we
the other
could-
people to see.
we could cancel Thursday, because we know we have Tuesday night.
Yeah,
I mean, unless
Stacy,
you-
I mean, you know what's coming up. If it's
yeah.
not a lot, then let's cancel Thursday.
Yeah, because Tuesday will cover our end of month, and then we'll just have one Tuesday, so
Yeah.
it's not like we really need Thursday.
It's not the final meeting of the year, of the week, of the month, yeah.
Yep.
Right, with the evening meeting.
So
Yeah.
we can cover everything on Tuesday or the following Tuesday at New
We're
Wrigley.
probably supposed to
I
sign
think that would make sense to me.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was part of that other packet.
So we're canceling next Thursday's meeting?
Cancel Thursdays.
That
I'm fine.
makes sense to me.
We
Pardon?
don't have any bid openings that day or anything on Thursday? Okay.
No appointments or anything.
Is that okay with the audience?
All right. Any other comments? Anything for the good of the order?
I got a question. You're talking about this Board of Elections and everything. What kind of area does that health department hold down there? Don't they have an entrance right on the floor, right on the?
On the side,
Yeah.
over on, was that Perry Street side?
But they're not on the first floor at all, they're upstairs.
Yeah,
they're up
there's
there?
some on the first floor.
Is there some in the, in the back, yeah.
Some in the health department.
You said there's no first floor?
No,
The health
there is,
department
there
has
is.
a couple
Stand
floors
right
there.
Well, they're on, okay, but there wouldn't be adequate room there for a first floor for, if they took an entrance and put it in there, that they could have everything on the first floor.
For the Board of Elections.
Using this, yeah, using the same space they got plus whatever the health department is.
Yeah, I don't think there's a direct connection on the first floor from the Board of Elections to the health department. You gotta go down in the basement and come back up. There's no direct,
Well,
I suppose you could knock a hole in the wall.
Yeah, I know that there was when the steps,
Good.
like when
I
that
think it did.
LaSalle's building was down there, wasn't there kind of like a double level at the time?
Before my time, I don't know.
Oh, come on.
The cells? I used to always go, because I always had to walk home from school, and I lived in the north end. That's where I would stop and warm up.
They had the
My mother
escalator.
Why, I
was
didn't know
tired,
for
she was
sure.
terrible when we walked.
I didn't know for sure if there was space there that could be utilized and let the health department go out yonder or somewhere else,
Yeah,
you know.
we'd have to move the health department.
As I say, the health department, yeah, they would not, probably wouldn't be able to give up any space. I'm
Plus they
guessing.
pay us.
Yeah, they're in
Of
there.
course, you're giving up any
There's a lot of
space,
space in the basement.
moving them out,
Yeah.
you know, let them go with doing that.
The Board of Elections keeps their machines down that one. I think the basement's pretty full, isn't it?
Yep,
It's-
that's
it's-
a huge room.
Okay.
That's huge.
Yeah, but, yeah, when the machines come out, but right now they're full.
Clear full of those handicap machines.
Yeah, now it's full of the machines for the Board of Elections. And the conference room is the other room down there, which is not,
That's kind of shared among.
yeah, shared by everybody. So, all right, nothing, anything else for the good of the order?
I just kind of curious, I was thought maybe there might be, I didn't know for sure what the health department, what kind of space they took up.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the square feet they take, but it's quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few. They just started paying us a few years ago, so they are a paying customer now.
I disagree with Mr. Zeller that it has to be downtown because like I was talking about, the people in Fostoria and in the country can go out there as easy as they can come in downtown Tiffin, as far as people do that. And he sits there and he looks at me and shakes his head a little bit.
We can agree to disagree.
All right,
I move we adjourn.
Second.
moved and seconded, and all those in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned, thank you.